All right, welcome everyone to Recovery Unplugged Live. I am G1NBC John, but I'm only the producer here. Amy McCorkle is the star of the show, and so are the people that she interviews.
Yes.
So welcome everyone. After our brief hiatus, we are back, beginning March.
Season 4.
Woohoo! And as you guys saw in the intro, we had 3 laurels added to our intro scene that we've gotten from our submissions to various festivals. We have News Fest that you entered, and we have Annabelle Monroe's The Most Important Film Festival, and we have Indie Fest, the Indie Fest Film Awards.
Yes, and Indie Gathering actually gave us an award.
But
my last computer died because my cat dumped water all over it.
what did I tell you? What did I tell you about having cats?
Cats are great.
So welcome everyone. Everyone loves cats but me. I probably would. If I wasn't allergic, my wife likes cats too. So if I wasn't allergic, and my daughter does, so like there's cats at the farm where my wife grew up, and so they go to the farm, and my kids are all over the cats. And so like for the next hour afterwards, I'm like, please don't touch me. So we're waiting for Amy to come back in tonight. We have Jen Sugermeyer here. Hey Jen.
Hi.
How are you today? Good.
Excellent.
I did some Facebook stalking of you in preparation of the of tonight's show, and so you are very accomplished. I'm very interested, maybe not here, but to hear more about your book and the work that you do and things like that. So thanks for coming on.
Yes, thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
And I did read in there that we're going to let Amy back in. Well, now she's going to have to go out and come back in. That you had a corporate presence before you took a journey down where you are right now.
I did. I spent 15 years in corporate America. And just speaking briefly into that, I had started I contracted with Department of Defense, Department of State, worked in Afghanistan for a year, worked public and private companies. So a lot of corporate climbing on my part before I jumped and did my own thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Amy, you back?
Yes, I'm back.
So we were talking a little bit. We were actually stalling because so you could get out and come back in. I have a follow-up question for that, Jen, but I'm gonna ask it after Amy's interview. Everyone who is watching, we are live on the Amy Unplugged page on Facebook, my G1NBC YouTube channel, and on Vim TV, which is a decentralized platform that is powered by the Hive blockchain. So we're streaming live on all 3 of those platforms right now. If you are on any of those and you're watching, bring your comments in, and I'll be checking those throughout the interview. You go, Amy.
So I didn't tell you this, John, but I've lost like 15 pounds since we last saw each other.
I found it.
Well, the way I lost it was coronavirus, so I don't recommend that diet for anybody.
Right.
But I managed to keep it off. So.
Hey, that's good.
There's all kinds of exciting things happening. We're developing a television series version of Letters to Daniel, and The Guardian is in early pre-production, and can't reveal much about that other than it's a big step up for everybody involved, and especially for me and Missy. And then I feel like, you know how Letters to Daniel, we learned a lot.
Oh boy. I'm sensing a theme here tonight. We're having technical difficulties with Amy's Zoom tonight. So here's my follow-up question for you, Jen.
All right.
What was there an impetus? Was there something like a culmination, or like what made you take the leap? Did you have a
Did you have a dream?
did you like, was it enough was enough? Was there a situation, or, you know, you don't have to
No.
share your whole story, but
Yeah, yeah.
usually
I'll try to
there's,
keep it brief because there's it goes into a lot of who I am. But I've known for quite a while that there was something more. And I had my aha moment back in 2018, and I spent one solid year really working on myself. And once I had really and I don't think we ever get there, right? But I felt really comfortable with what I had done, and I put together a program. And I said, this is what I want to do, is I want to help other people plug back into their power source. And so now that's what I do, is I help others. So it's a scary leap, kind of going into the unknown, but yeah, that was a very, very high level. There's a whole lot of content I just skimmed over, but that's it.
yeah. Well, and you know what? It's funny that like I think there's a lot of people out there still that want to do that don't know how to take those first initial steps.
The first step is, the hardest.
It really is. And for me, like me to go ahead and speak into my story.
Well, if you want, look, let's just go ahead and dive into the interview, because it's obvious my internet is going to give us fits tonight. So let me start with my first question, right? And I'll get us all set up. And it's like, okay, so you all been discussing, you're the author, you're a life coach, and you're a speaker, and you're the author of 2 best-selling books, and am I right? Your most recent book is Reset, and you're the first life coach we've had on the show. What exactly is a life coach, and what do you do?
That's a great question. Yes. So I have 2 books that I wrote, and I was explaining a little bit of my story, and I spent 15 years in corporate America, and I was really good at what I did, and I was climbing the ladder, and I was reporting into like the highest ranks. And I had my aha moment back in 2018, and I realized now that there was a correlation in my life between all of the things I was doing and able to show the world of all of my many accomplishments, whatever that means, right? And the dysfunction that was happening behind the scenes. And I think I acknowledge now that I was putting up somewhat of a facade, and in the back end, I completely ignored my mental health, and it was in the trash. I was a blackout alcoholic. I looked in the mirror and I didn't know who I was. And I had my aha moment back in 2018, and I realized there were 7 words that this gentleman said to me, and they changed the course of my entire life. And he said, Jen, you need to learn to love yourself. And with those 7 words, I tried for 10 years to get sober. And with those 7 words, I decided that I was going to take my addictive behavior and become addicted to myself. And I realized as part of that year that I had created a program, in essence. And so my desire to step out of corporate was because I want to help others plug back into their power source. So what is a life coach? A life coach is someone to help you, really to support you, to help give you guidance, to help engage the tools that are in your mindset. When we get going through life, sometimes we don't just stop and think about, how does anger impact me? How does fear and negativity and frustration? And what about boundaries and all these things? So my program walks through all of that. So it's really coaching someone through life so that they can accomplish the goals that they want to.
Okay. You've spoken to this a little bit, but if you could expand on it, how did you get set on the path to becoming a life coach? Not just, like loving yourself and getting cleaned up, but to extending that, what made you go beyond re- recovery for yourself to reaching out for recovery for others and other people's mental
Yeah. So I had always
health and other
wanted to.
people's goals?
Yeah. Yeah. I had always wanted, sorry, you cut in a little bit, so I didn't mean to talk
Yeah, I
over you.
noticed that.
Um, I always knew that I wanted to help people. That was something when I was a child, I said, I just want to help people. And so it was always in my DNA. And I took a very different career path. And I think, once I started tapping back into my spiritual vision, it was that, I genuinely want to help people. That's who I am. I was really good at my corporate job. I'm really good at saving millions and millions of dollars for companies and leading teams and leading global teams and doing all the things. But that's not fulfilling in the same way as it is to help people live out their purpose. And I see so much suffering in this world. And I don't believe that my higher power gave me as much pain and suffering that has happened in my life to just move on, right? That was something that was a gift to me. And I've now taken this gift and I want to help others. And so I've tapped back into my spiritual vision and I just started really methodically looking at, how do I make this into a business? And, going down an entrepreneurial route when you're so used to corporate and having things very structured and a regular paycheck and a 401k and all these things. I mean, it's a lot, but it's absolutely worth it.
Okay. What inspired you to create the Reset program, write it, and what exactly is the Reset program?
Yeah, great question. So Reset actually stands for recognize, eliminate, structure, elevate, and transform. And as I went through, here's my book here. And as I was going through my 1 year transformation, I as I call it, my 1 year, I realized at some point that I was actually working a program. I didn't set out to say, let me create a program so I can help other people. This was all about, I gave myself 1 year. I didn't date. I didn't make any big changes other than I started this massive tattoo that took over my entire back. Other than that, I haven't made any big changes during that first year because I wanted all of the focus on me. And I realized after about 7 or 8 months that I was working a program and I was talking to some people and they said, Jen, that's incredible. I want what you have. And and this is not, just to be clear, this is not a program just for alcoholics or things. This is for people that have become disconnected with themselves. So if you have any level of suffering in your life, then we need to plug you back in. So that's the audience. And so I talked to people and they said, man, I want what you have. And I really started to just listen to those words. And I said, I want to write a book. I love writing. I've done it before. And I want to help other people through my story, through what has worked for me. Cause it took me 10 years. I tried everything. I've spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars trying to get sober. And there's no amount of money you can just throw at your, to fix your mind, right? You've really got to do the work. And so that's what I did is I started writing the book. So I first wrote the book, then I came up with a program. So I actually have an online and a one-on-one program, and really the flow from a high level. So it's a 5-step process. And the first, recognize, it's all about getting in the mind, because you got to make sure you have a strong mindset as you're getting your life back on track. So it's understanding what tools you have in your mind. Then we move into the second step, which is eliminate. And we eliminate the things that don't serve you. And that's, things that are toxic, that are holding you down, that you might not even realize it. So, and low hanging fruit. And we just kind of clear out your space. And then in the third step, we look at boundaries and what type of structure we need to put in your life so that we keep you going in the path that you want to go. The fourth step is elevate, and we learn to elevate our lives and look at our purpose and our purpose, living in gratitude, being present. That's really the elevated state that we're looking for. So we've eliminated the suffering. We've put structure in our lives and boundaries so that we know how to operate. We know how we can get to our goal. And then we move into the elevated state, and we're really in our gratitude and our purpose. And then finally, the transformation, which is how do we make this into something that is a lifetime, not a fad diet, but, and I use that term loosely, like a fad diet and you gain weight back next week, right? We want to have something that's for the duration. So how do we make this a lifestyle? So those are the 5 steps. I know we lost Amy. I was trying to continue.
Was there someone in the early stage when you first started that you leaned on or that helped you, either from a professional like entrepreneurial aspect or just kind of a personal coaching type aspect that you leaned on in that initial stage?
Yeah, I think I did a lot of things for my sobriety piece of it. I think I was personally, I would go to, maybe meetings or things of this nature. I did a lot of things on my own, but I made sure that I let others know around me where I was at. And I started becoming a lot more vocal, and that really helped because this was something that I kept to myself. I mean, I was so ashamed of the person that I had become. I was so fearful of the backlash that was going to happen. And so I just didn't tell people. And once I started opening up and letting people in, then they were able to support me from a friendship standpoint, a relationship standpoint, and just like, Jen, we're here for you. And so that was exceedingly helpful. And then from a business standpoint, I had coaches. I had a book coach and also a business coach along the way.
Cool.
Okay, I'm sorry about my internet.
That's okay. I just kept going, Amy. I was like, I'm just going to keep talking.
Okay, just tell me if you've covered the ground. I'm getting ready to
I think I got it all. Yes.
Okay. You and I are connected by an AOFer, Shane Borza.
Mm-hmm.
I met him through AOF Megafest as a filmmaker. How did you two connect, and how have you been able to, I guess, learn anything from each other or anything like that? How did that connection come about?
It's just such a small world once you start putting yourself out there. So the coaching program that I utilize for my business, it's a mindset and business coaching, David Bayer's coaching program. I had set up a meeting with one of the other people in the coaching program because I was just doing networking and we were talking. And I was talking with this gentleman in the program and he said, "You've got to meet this guy, Shane." So that's how that met. And we connected. And I'm actually headed to Vegas in a month from today. So I will be there April 1st. And Shane and I are going to go hiking. And I'm super excited about that. So I think there's going to be a lot more that I can learn from Shane. And, I'm super excited about our time together. And, yeah, he'll be on my show at some point and I hope to be on his. And so, it's just, you just start talking and learning and growing together.
Yeah. What is being a life coach like for you, like emotionally? Like, because, you're working with people. How do you balance your work and helping others and also keeping a boundary to where you can stay mentally,
Yeah.
in a place where you want to be?
Yeah, that's a really excellent question. Because sometimes it's easy to maybe take on some of those emotions or some of the things that are going on, right? But I have to really, I know that, growth is tough. And I just have to realize that people are going through their own growth and look at that as exciting. I'm 6'1".
Wow.
And I always tell people, and I'm confident in 4-inch heels. So you'll see me walking, 6'5" on any given day. And I know all about growing pains and they absolutely exist. And I went through them and I just remember like rubbing my legs. And I just went through a lot of pain. And so they're real. I acknowledge that. And it's the same as when people are going through changes. We don't become, a butterfly without any changes, right? You've got to break through that cocoon. You've got to learn to fly. There's a whole process. So really keeping that in mind, that this isn't always going to be an easy process, but it's a beautiful process. And so I look at that butterfly at the end of, our sessions for them, and they might not be able to see it, but I can't take on their emotions. I have to be able to see ahead of them and where they're going.
Uh, so, okay, so I'm going to pivot a little bit and I'm going to talk directly about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been, and you spoke a little bit to this, or maybe more than a little bit. Have you ever been directly or indirectly impacted by serious mental illness?
Yeah, when I mean, my story holistically, when I talk about it, I usually start when I was 12. And the reason my story started there is because that's when my eating disorder started. And so I spent uh, over 2 decades having this double life, and that was really all that I knew. And I spent my entire teenage years battling this eating disorder. And when I got a handle on that, and I use air quotes because it popped up throughout my entire life, um, it just went from one addiction to another. And I didn't actually acknowledge what that was to me. I thought it was something benign. I didn't acknowledge that there was even mental health tied to it, right? I knew that I didn't have good self-esteem and those, but I didn't connect the dots on a lot of that. The truth was that I was suffering from poor mental health, and that continued for over 2 decades. And and it almost, when I looked in the mirror, I hated the woman that I had become, and I was highly suicidal. Every time I traveled, and I traveled a lot, whenever there was turbulence on the plane, I wanted the plane to go down. It was just it was, it was a really tough thing to navigate, and also not understand fully what was going on. And really, when that gentleman said, "You need to learn to love yourself," is when I acknowledged that, wow, there was something that was much greater going on than, this benign behavior or this drinking, right? It was me. And I had to get into my head, and I had to fix myself. And that's when the healing started to begin.
Okay. Wrong page. Uh, when working with clients, do you act as a counselor at any time?
No, no,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It's, I provide space for my clients to talk, and I help, they pick their direction that they want to go, but it's not counseling.
Right. I just wanted to, clarify that for anybody who would be watching.
It
And
Yeah, that's
yeah,
that's
that
important. A lot of people think that that's what a life coach is.
yeah, uh okay. I just what
Go ahead. You're fine.
that was my question. Did you hear my question?
No, no, I think
I
you cut
said,
out during the question.
You're fine
okay.
now.
Oh, okay. Um, oh no. I'm cutting out again.
Do you have a particular client or impactful moment that you fondly remember, either when you first started or recently?
You know, uh, when um, when someone comes and tells you that, when you see the light bulb go off in someone's mind, and they say, I mostly work with women, but I have men that I work with as well. And, I know now that I can be a better father. I'm going to be a better man. I'm going to be a better husband. When you hear these, and that was one that happened not too long ago, and it was like, thank you, Jen. The bulb has gone off, and I'm destined for greatness. And
Yeah, that's
had it
awesome.
all along, and that's what I see. That's why I can't get too close to the pain, right?
hmm
And I have to keep myself from that, because I know that that's where they're going, and it just takes that, like, it's uncomfortable to change. But when you see that, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, the light bulb went off. I'm going to be a better father, man, husband, whatever. Um, it's like, wow, I went through all my own personal pain to help you, and you are going to help other people, and just the massive impact you can have on the world. Um, so much greater than anything I was doing in corporate.
Sure. Cool.
Okay. The next question I have is if you could be anything other than a life coach, what do you think it would
So
that would
I think I got your question, but it was a little choppy. But I'm just going to answer what I think you asked, and I think you asked me what I would be if I wasn't going to be a life coach. And I'm actually I've got several projects going on right now. I would like to get into radio and TV, and I've got a few things that are in the hopper, a few show ideas, and I do have a podcast, and so that's something that I do. But yeah, so I would actually be on film is truthfully what I would do. I actually bought my red carpet dress, and not because I have a red carpet invite, but because I decided that I was going to buy the dress and that the event was going to find me. And so that's...
Well, Amy will tell you that if you go to the Action on Film, if you go to the AOF Festival at the end of July, that you'll have a chance to wear that dress.
Ooh,
to one of the galas. Yeah.
I love it.
Is she going to?
Well, she said she bought a dress, waiting for that moment to wear it, and I said one of those moments to wear it. You know, because video and film was next. So
funny, yes. So that is where I plan on going, and I bought my red carpet dress in December, not because I have the red carpet not that I have an invite, but because I'm going to manifest this. And I actually tried it on this morning and drank my coffee with it. So I'm manifesting it every single day. So that is where I aspire to be. I plan on growing a coaching program where people are teaching my program, and I'm on stages and I'm doing things, and not so much. I have, maybe a few clients, but I plan on growing a business to do that, and me focus on really being, on stages and promoting a good message.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, definitely. I can see that. Okay. Well, you kind of just answered the question. What do you hope to accomplish with your platform that you're creating?
Yeah, I want to grow an empire. I've trademarked Reset, and I trademarked it up to conferences. So I plan on having a team of people, and I want to grow conferences where people come and they have this reset and they really just plug into themselves with like a 2-day conference. So that's sort of phase 3 of my business. And really I become the creative in creating more programs. I just created a new program called the Untouchable Mindset, which is unbelievable. I encourage anybody to go out there. It's only $97. But it's all about how to have an untouchable mindset. So when the world happens and things are, tumultuous, how do you stay in a safe space? How do you stay in that state of peace? So, so that's my plan, is conferences, and I just want to keep going.
Okay. Now let's have a little fun. If your life were a movie, what would the title be?
Ooh. Yeah, Tenacious came to mind, but I don't know that that's a good name of a movie. That's just like a description of me.
It's whatever you want,
Yeah, Warrior. Ooh, yes.
Tenacious Warrior.
The Tenacious Warrior. And you froze, but
okay.
You're back.
Yeah, okay,
She's back.
You're back.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I want to get the next question off. If you could cast
anyone in the entire cinematic universe,
who would play me?
Who would it be?
Gal Gadot.
And would
Who's that?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
Who is that for people who
Wonder
are like
Woman.
me?
She,
Oh,
That's-
okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like it. It's like it's like it's like trying to pick through code.
right.
Should be back in a minute. So when Amy comes back, how are you influenced at all from your past experiences, or do you just kind of bring that in as part of like an intro story when you're initially talking to people, or does that experience that you had in the professional career ever impact, or how does it still impact your work? Because it doesn't ever leave you, right? It is who you were. So do you use that as kind of like a intro to talk about your transition, or do you also kind of use that business experience to, like you said, you have phases already for what you want to do. Do you use that to also help grow your business?
Yeah, I couple, well, really everything in my life, right? Because we are everything is a building block of our life. And so I think that my professional experience, as well as my, my addictions and all of that, is very important to my story and who I am, and unique to me. And so I couple both of those, and I actually feel very blessed to have all of that, because it gives me a lot of perspectives. And so, yes, so I bring all of that into the picture.
Gotcha. Do you have cats?
I do. I have one.
You have one?
Booger.
Does she jump on you? Does she ever jump on you like during meetings?
No, I wish she did. Yeah, she's just sitting. She's just laying over there.
Where do you live? I don't know where you're located.
I'm in Dallas, Texas. So
Okay.
I didn't have
God,
power
so you
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so I'm in Ohio, so you knew what it was like to be an Ohioan for the last couple of weeks.
I don't, maybe. We
We're
don't
tapped
have the
into
infrastructure to support anything.
Yeah, we're
so
tapped into the national grid, though, so we usually don't lose power, but we know all about shoveling snow and icy roads and cold weather.
Yeah, I had no power, and my building was flooding.
Did you have socks? Did you have, like, warm clothes?
Yeah, I stayed in bed actually a lot, and I just kind of read during the day, and my cat was like, I'm not sure why it's 47 degrees in the house, but we'll just go with that.
Right. So. He or she got to use their fur.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Did you hear that last question?
No, we improvised.
Okay, if you could meet any of your heroes, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Just one. Okay, I think I think I'm gonna have to go with Ellen DeGeneres. I just absolutely love Ellen. I love Ellen and Steve Harvey. It would be one of the two. I love how Ellen had a vision for herself, and she said, I'm gonna be on the Johnny Carson show. And she wasn't even really a comedian at the time, and she just made it happen. She manifested it, and look at her today. And Steve really came up from nothing, and he's just such an incredible motivational speaker. And if you ever hear him talk about, his vision boards and bringing everything into life, I mean, the two of them, between Ellen and Steve, are just powerhouses. So they would absolutely be who I would want to meet. I want dinner with the both of them one day.
Oh, that's super cool.
Okay. Okay, and I think, let's see, I don't know. Okay, for anyone who wants to become a life coach or hire one, what are some suggestions you might have for them?
You need to jive with the person. I'm very matter of fact, and I'm going to, not railroad you, right? But I'm very direct, and that's not for everybody. But I don't believe in making you feel better. Like I want you to legitimately feel better, not just because of words, right? And so I'm a lot more direct. So when you're looking for someone, look for what they specialize in. Maybe somebody that you can connect to. I always find it interesting, and I actually really don't work with many people, if any, in recovery, but But that is part of my story. And so if that's part of your story and, you know, somebody that's gone through addiction, that might be something important to you. You might want, you know, a female or, you know, a male or somebody, you know, ask them what kind of programs they offer. Ask them why they're different. Why is their program work? Ask them, you know, have they worked their program, you know? And so I have a very different, it's not like we just meet every other week. I have where, you know, you have videos, you have homework, we meet every other week. It is a structured 5-month program. And the reason I don't, you know, I'm not going to tell you, sure, we can just do this in 5 weeks. No, because there's so much content that you need to understand that I think it's a disservice to you to say, yeah, sure, we'll just cram it all in, give me your money and go. Like that's not fair. So you need to ask the questions, you know, of, and just kind of see where somebody's coming from. Ask them about their program, see if that jives with you.
Okay. And finally, this is the last question. For any artists aspiring to include, you know, writing, speaking in their repertoire, and they struggle with mental illness, what is your advice?
You know, first, I just think writing in general, I never had a coach. I started just writing, and that was one of the most therapeutic things I had ever done. My first book I wrote, which I didn't publish, but it was 10, 11 years ago. My best friend had committed suicide, and I didn't know how to, I didn't have closure. And so I wrote about it. And I never published it, but it was something that was so therapeutic for me. So you don't have to do anything. You don't need a coach. You don't need anybody. Just start writing. You don't have to share it with anybody, but the amount of healing that you can get, and it helps you to visualize things. You know, sometimes we're so in our head, and it's tough because we're just all up in here. And when we can start to see things, then we can process them better. And, you know, I would encourage you, if you do want to take it a step further and write a book, to get a coach. I had a coach, and, you know, I actually ended up rewriting my book because she really helped me to structure things and look at things differently. And she helped me come up with the name, you know, Reset. I mean, she brought it out of me. She was an amazing coach and just helped me to find my voice, you know. And when I first wrote my book, it was a little softer. And she said, Jen, you're not, like, you're very direct. You're just very, she goes, but I don't hear this in your writing. And she helped me find my voice. So regardless of where you are, start writing. If you're thinking about publishing, maybe think about a coach, but nothing precludes you from just putting pen to paper and getting your thoughts down.
Yeah. You know,
we talk about that all the time.
Yeah,
about using your creativity, using your voice, and that's the story, you know, of what we're doing here and what Amy's doing with all of her work is like, how do you use creativity, writing, filmmaking, whatever you're passionate about, poetry, to embrace that and overcome challenges.
And if I can just say this, I mean, it doesn't have to sound perfect for it to impact somebody else, right? To impact you, to impact somebody else. So don't get gun shy and don't compare yourself ever. Don't ever do that. You know, people ask me, and I hear this in business, I hear it in personal. It's like, how do you differentiate yourself, right? When you're dating, when you're trying to get new business, when you're getting new clients, when you're whatever. People are like, how do you differentiate yourself? There is only one of you, only one. So just lean into it. And so whatever you have to say, go with it. And you have a story, and that story can help somebody else. So don't hold back, because you're holding back from the world and yourself. So just go out there. Don't have any trepidation. You're given that story just like I was given my story for a reason. Lean into it.
Manifesting. You said that a couple times. You definitely are a believer in that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If you see it, if you envision it, go make it happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And so when I wake up, and that's a lot of my program as well, is I have a very structured kind of morning and evening routine, and it's, you know, thinking about, you know, just being more intentional with your day, and then in the evening evening, kind of thinking about things that maybe could have, been done better, or things that you'd want to repeat. But being very, very intentional about your life and envisioning things is so powerful. I see things and then I start to bring them to life, and it's just like mind blown, and I love, and I've actually just started dabbling in the film. I just wrote a music video script, and I acted in it, and so just those kinds of things.
Sure.
It's the same type of creativity, right? You're like, this is the script I'm writing, and then you see it come to life, right? Every day is your script of life,
and there's always people in those areas that either want to work with someone else, or have projects, or just want to talk about it and things like that. So there's always an avenue or path to go around. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So Amy's coming back. Where can they find you?
Yeah, so the great thing about a name like Jen Sugermeyer is there's only one.
Right, and also, how do you have all your computers set up to not autocorrect? Because every time I went in to put your name, it's like, are you sure you don't want to spell that a different way? And I'm like, no, I swear I want to Google search this spelling of Sugermeyer.
Sugar with an E.
To say, John, what was your role on Letters to Daniel, other than helping me raise the platform?
I was the key grip, and I was Amy's father. No, was I? No, yeah, I was.
Yeah, you, not my father.
Not your father. I was Missy's father.
Because our actor,
excuse me,
no show, like no call, no show that day.
John to the rescue.
Yeah, I stepped in. I had 3 lines, and Amy cut 2 of them.
Was on when the credits roll, he's known as the line.
Yep.
But Letters to Daniel really, look, I've written published 28 books. I've got 3 memoirs out. One's a how-to kind of quasi-memoir. But Letters to Daniel is really where it started, and it was a blog, and it really first was, as I was writing it, was an open fan letter. But I was like, I could do something here. And I just wrote stream of consciousness blog entries, and it became even though my therapist had told me a million times, write a journal, Amy, because I have bipolar disorder, I didn't listen. But when I started doing that, everything changed, and people come to me and say, that's my story, or my mom's story, or I don't have bipolar disorder, but I have anxiety, or I have depression, or so it's been that was in 2013, and then we collected it went blog, book, script, documentary, and then narrative film, and now I've got a talent manager, and it's like the whole world is opening up. So it's so I definitely am glad you're on the show, and that you hung in there through all my technical glitches.
Good team effort. Good team effort tonight for all 3 of us.
Look, I'll find out if there's an issue in my area, or if it's just how my dad hooked up the Wi-Fi, because I can't afford this.
With that, everyone, Jen, thanks for being here. Amy is gone for the last time. So is it JenSugermeyer.com, or is it a different?
Yep.
It's
JenSugermeyer.com.
Yep.
And there's some freebies out on the website, so you can. Amy's coming back.
She's trying.
Yeah.
She's trying. All right, everyone. We are going to watch Old King Cole, and we are going to head on out. So, Jen, thank you so much for coming on Recovery Unplugged Live, and hopefully we'll see you again.
Love it. Thank you.
All right. Good night, everyone.
I came from the mud. catch me howling at the moon.